Hello and welcome back to another episode of Stirring It Up with Tia Monique, Kitchen Table Talk. And on today's segment of political news, we have George Conway with CNN sitting at the table to discuss Trump's sporadic behavior. Let's listen and talk about it on the other side.
The contents of the recording, extraordinary all the way through. There are, of course, two lines that stand out. One where the president tells the Secretary of State of Georgia to find 11,780 votes. It's one more than we need to win. And the second is when the president says, just tell people that you've recalculated the votes. Just tell the people you've recalculated the votes. That'll be fine. George Conway, I'd like to ask you the specific question of whether the president broke laws in the United States and also federally and also in the state of Georgia. But first, I just have to ask you generally, what's your overall impression of this extraordinary audio recording where every American, if they wish, can listen to the president of the United States trying to undermine American democracy and overturn an election?
It's shocking but not surprising. The real question that pops up here and pops up again and again is how delusional is he? Is he that delusional, or is he just desperate? And I think it's a little bit of both. He is absolutely desperate to avoid leaving office on January 20th, and he's delusional in the sense that he thinks that the way to do it. And the reason why he's desperate, frankly, is because something more than him having to leave the grounds of the White House happens on January 20th. Something more important. He loses his immunity from criminal liability on January 20th. And that is something that it's been reported, that his aides have talked about, that he has talked about to his aides, according to reports on the New York Times and other newspapers. And it's something that, if you recall, a month ago, he gave a 45-minute or so address that nobody covered on the networks, but that he broadcast on Facebook. And one of the things he talked about was the fact that there's this investigation in the Manhattan DA's office of his finances, and that they're trying to get him. He's obsessed with the fact that he loses his immunity on January 20th, and that, I think, as much as anything else, explains his desperation here. It's not just that he can't take the loss of an election, which he can, but that doesn't explain the fact that we're here now 2 full months after the election, the November 3rd election, and the electors have voted. They've been certified by the governors. All the results in the states have been certified. The electoral votes are signed, sealed, and delivered. And he's still at this. And not only that, he's so desperate to avoid the potential for investigation and prosecution that he's risking more criminal liability. It harkens back to the Mueller investigation. If he had just kept his mouth shut and cooperated with the Mueller investigation to some extent and not tried to interfere with it, that investigation, that report would have been just the first volume. It would have been about the Russian hacking and the contacts between the campaign and Russian agents, but it really wouldn't have involved him that much. He made that investigation, he's dumb as a rock, and he made that investigation about himself by trying to interfere with it. And now he's making his legal situation worse in his fear of criminal liability and investigation by essentially committing more crimes. And if you look at the Georgia statute, it's pretty clear that this is a crime. And the only defense he would have, and also there's a federal statute that's a little bit differently worded, that also arguably comes into play. But his only defense to that, to a criminal prosecution on that score for this phone call would be that he's so delusional that he actually believes that he won this election, that he believes all the things that he said. And maybe he's convinced himself of that, but it's like if I broke into your house and I claimed it was my house and I was arrested, it might be a defense if I truly believed it was my house. But I can't establish that just by saying, oh, I told 50 people that it was my house and I made a big deal of it. And, you know, Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani told me it was my house. Not going to quite work. And especially when you're basically the world's biggest known liar, which Donald Trump is.
Folks, that wraps it up for another edition of Stirring It Up with me, Chair Monique. So tell us, what do you think about the situation Trump is in now, and especially when he gets out of the White House? Your opinion is appreciated. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to hit the like and subscribe to become a friend. And to all our new subscribers, we see you and appreciate you ever so much. And until next time, and there will be a next time. Bye.
Black Lagoon, they're going to bring in little creatures, you know, from the Black Lagoon, and instead of draining the swamp, they're going to dump cesspool water into the swamp.